This is Brent with Lykins Motorsports. This is yet again our little 311, and we're still doing a little bit of prep work for a possible vacuum pump addition. I did come across an original funnel web, like not a Pro Comp or Speedmaster, but original Terry Parker funnel web that had been fully ported. So I'm in negotiations with the owner of it. So until I come to a final agreement on that, I don't want to order the vacuum pump just yet. But we're going to do some prep work for it. We got to have a way of pulling vacuum out of the valve cover area. So these breathers and grommets are not going to work. We're going to use a pair of these Moroso oil separator breathers, and they have a seal that seals down against the valve cover and on the other side as well. And if I can get one out of the bubble wrap, I'll show it to you. Looks like this. So they come apart, and it's made to mount kind of like a bulkhead style fitting on both sides of your valve cover. And this nipple comes out so you can plug it, or you can put in an AN fitting, or whatever you want to do. So I got one of these per valve cover, and we'll plug one side and then put in a pipe thread to -10 AN adapter. That will allow us to pull vacuum off of our vacuum pump when we get it. From the last video, I did get the new oil pan gasket on, checked everything out, and still need to, I did fill it with oil and need to prime the pump and get it ready for the next dyno session. So but before we do that, I'm going to get the valve covers off, and we're going to put these breathers in. All right, so for us to be able to get to the bottom side of our breather, we got to take these baffles out. I'll go ahead and get that done. Okay, the baffle plate comes out with just 4 screws. It's got this nice sealing surface here that are, when you back this nut off of here, that it will sit against. The breather itself has an O-ring that stands pretty proud. And what I'll probably do is use just a little bit of silicone right there for this to seal up against, and probably around the threads on our breather as well. Okay, we got our first one on, and I was able to put a little silicone on the bottom side of that nut, and I used my big fat adjustable aluminum AN wrench to tighten it up without scarring it. And I think I can probably get the baffle back on top of that. I'll have to sit and think about whether I want to do that or not. Certainly couldn't hurt anything. And it would allow air to still flow underneath of it. So I think I'm going to put that back on. Okay, so we have one installation done. This will be the passenger side valve cover, so I can replace this with a pipe plug. These are really nice. They have mesh inside of them for an additional baffle. But I can plug this side, and we can put this valve cover back on. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and roll the engine over and get our timing mark back to where it'll be easy for me to drop the distributor back in after I prime. And I've showed you how to do that in past videos, but we'll go ahead and do that now. All right, and our second one is done with our breather clocked a little bit different direction, and our adapter fitting screwed in with just a little bit of thread sealant on it. I have to make up a lot of AN hoses and such when I build, especially race motors, vacuum pumps, and dry sumps and stuff. These aluminum AN wrenches are worth their weight in gold. You can get individual sizes in 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16, whatever. But this little crescent wrench is pretty sweet. And I use it in conjunction with my rod vise. It's aluminum too. And when you put braided hoses together, you can make them look pristine without having something else scarring up the finish. So got everything clocked on our distributor. I'm gonna get this other valve cover back on and then pull the distributor out and prime the pump, and then we will be done. Just a short video, nothing really special, but just baby steps, and hopefully I will be able to get a hold of that funnel web intake to try out. It's about, I don't know, probably about as tall as the Victor Jr. is with a spacer on it. The one that I'm looking at is ported and flows about 370 CFM, which is about what this flows. But I'm looking for a different runner length and shape, and I think that may help me out on the dyno. So the next step is to do an A/B test with the vacuum pump, and then we can do some manifold swaps. I would really like to see this thing put out about 570, 575 without going to, 12.5, 13-to-1 compression. But just some carefully chosen parts and some tuning. So we'll see what happens. All right, guys, I appreciate you watching this video. Got some cool stuff coming up that I'm going to show you here in a few seconds. I've got 2 Robert Pond cast iron blocks coming for some builds. One is for Mr. Roger, and he had ordered a 427 from me last year, and just with parts availabilities and everything, we finally got around to looking at his block, and a pair of cylinders was cracked in between the cylinders. So that pretty much makes the block unusable. So we had to scramble and find a block, and I pretty much have every single thing here to put his motor together. Just got to get the block machined and that sort of thing. Here is a new Hughes Racing sheet metal intake that we will be putting on some heavily ported CHI 3V heads that will go on our 464 cleaver coming up. So that'll be an interesting build as well. But stick around. If you haven't, encourage you to hit that subscribe button so that you won't miss out on any of the cool things coming up. Tell all your friends about Lykins Motorsports. I not only am an engine builder or a YouTuber, but I sell a lot of parts. So a lot of the parts that you see in our high horsepower engines, we sell those, custom camshafts, assembled cylinder heads, that sort of thing. So check out our website. All right, guys, have a good rest of the week.